The sun was just kissing the surface of Whispering Pines Lake when the click-clack of designer heels shattered my peace like a shotgun blast. I didn't need to turn around to know the HOA's iron-fisted enforcer had declared war on my fishing rod. There she was, Lorraine Harrington, or as the locals whispered, Lori the Law, striding across my gravel path like she owned every blade of grass in Whispering Pines. Her blonde helmet hair didn't move in the breeze, pearls gleaming against her power blazer, and that clipboard clutched to her chest like the 10 Commandments. "Excuse me, sir," she called in that nasal, holier-than-thou tone. "You are in violation of community standards. Fishing is strictly prohibited from any lake access points without prior board approval and a visible resident badge." I reeled in my line slowly, turning with a polite smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Ma'am, this is my dock. I rebuilt it last month after closing on the property. Lot 42. Ethan Blackwood." Her smile tightened like a noose. "All waterfront is considered shared amenity under HOA covenants, Mr. Blackwood. You must display your credentials at all times. That's a $250 fine for unauthorized use and failure to identify. I'll have the citation delivered by tomorrow." I laughed softly, the kind of laugh that comes when you realize you're dealing with a real piece of work. "Credentials? On my own backyard? That's rich. Tell me, Lori, or is it Chairwoman Harrington, does the HOA also require a permission slip to breathe the mountain air around here?" Her cheeks flushed. "We maintain order so everyone can enjoy civilized living. Rules are rules for a reason." The next morning, I wasn't laughing anymore. I marched into the clubhouse office, thermos of coffee in hand, ready to play by their game. Behind the desk sat a nervous guy named Ted, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Good morning," I said. "Ethan Blackwood, new owner of Lot 42. I'd like copies of the bylaws, financial statements, meeting minutes, and all contracts for the last 5 years. As a dues-paying member, Article 4, Section 7 gives me that right within 48 hours. Ted squirmed. "We usually require a formal written request approved by the board." "Already sent certified mail yesterday," I replied, sliding a copy across the counter. "Clock's ticking." Before he could stall further, Lori burst from the back office like a hornet. "This is highly irregular, Mr. Blackwood. New residents don't just demand sensitive documents." "Sensitive? Or inconvenient?" I leaned in. Funny how community standards only seem to apply when you're hassling people for fishing on their own property, but not when folks want to see where their $800 monthly dues actually go. Roads are crumbling, the community dock is rotting, yet I bet those administrative fees are pristine. She crossed her arms. "If you insist on being difficult, we can always review your compliance with all covenants. Your lawn edging looked a bit uneven this morning." Classic. Threaten with nitpicky bullshit when cornered. Back at the cabin, the binder they reluctantly handed over told the real story. Whispering Pines collected over $600,000 a year in dues. Maintenance? Barely 20%. The rest funneled into Lakeside Premier Services LLC, a ghost company with no website, no employees listed, but payments wired straight to an account linked to Lori Harrington's home address. Her signature rubber-stamped every shady, emergency expenditure. I smiled grimly. She'd built her little empire on the very rules she wielded like a club. Now those rules were about to swing back. I called my old buddy from the DA's office, Marcus. "Got something that smells like embezzlement and wire fraud. Fake vendor, self-dealing, forged approvals." Within days, the intimidation started. A letter taped to my door. "Pending review for disruptive conduct. Your voting rights and meeting access are suspended." They even sent an inspector, claiming my shed paint was the wrong shade of beige. But they forgot one thing. I wasn't some scared retiree. I was the guy who spent years investigating corporate fraud before buying this slice of paradise. At the monthly board meeting, the clubhouse was packed. Lori presided like a queen, navy polo with the HOA logo gavel ready. "Before we proceed, we must address recent attempts to undermine our community's harmony." I stood up. "You mean like questioning where the money goes? According to your own bylaws, the ones you quote like scripture, no member can be suspended without a hearing and 2/3 board vote with cause. You skipped all that. Care to explain?" Murmurs rippled. A neighbor, old Mrs. Delgado, piped up, "Yeah, and why'd my dues double while the pool's still closed?" Lori banged the gavel. "This meeting is for orderly discussion only." "Orderly?" I held up printed pages. Like orderly payments to a fake company registered at your address? Over $280,000 in consulting fees that don't exist? That's not order, Lori. That's theft dressed up as community standards. The room erupted. People pulled out their own statements, demanding answers. Ted, the office guy, looked ready to faint. Brent, the spineless president, turned ghost white. Lori's perfect facade cracked. These are baseless accusations. Security will escort you out. But it was too late. The county sheriff's deputies I'd tipped off were already at the door with warrants. Lorraine Harrington, we need you to come with us. Federal agents are waiting outside regarding financial crimes. As they cuffed her, clipboard clattering to the floor, she sputtered, "This is outrageous. I'm protecting this community." I couldn't resist the final jab. "No, ma'am. You are protecting your wallet. The lake belongs to all of us, not just the one with the thickest rulebook." The fallout was swift and sweet. The State Oversight Board froze the HOA, nullified every bogus fine from the last 2 years, including my fishing ticket, and launched a full audit. Lori faced wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy charges that could put her away for a decade. Brent cut a deal and sang like a canary. Whispering Pines woke up. Residents formed a real advisory council with actual transparency rules. No more fining people for flower choices or excessive happiness without permit. Dues went down, repairs actually happened. A month later, I was back on my dock, lying in the water, the morning mist rising off the lake like a weight lifted from the whole neighborhood. No heels coming. No clipboard. Just peace. A kid on a bike pedaled by. "Mister, my dad says you took down the HOA lady." I chuckled. "Nah, kid. She took herself down. I just handed her the mirror." He grinned and rode off. So here's the question that keeps me up at night, folks. In these gated kingdoms of civilized living, who's the real abuser of power? The clipboard Karen enforcing 1,000 stupid rules, or the broken system that lets one busybody turn neighborly covenants into her personal cash machine? Was Lori Harrington the villain who got her just deserts, or simply the most visible symptom of HOAs gone wrong? True or false, the real power abuser finally got the karma they deserved? Drop your thoughts below.